Today we're going to talk about the peacock, or the bird of 100 eyes, and its lesser-known role in religion, mysticism, and alchemy. Some of the common motifs associated with the peacock are as the watchful eyes of God, or kind of the eye of providence, as a protector or guardian, as a symbol of immortality and resurrection, and a messenger or carrier of divine wisdom. The peacock sheds its feathers every year and then regrows them, so that's why the theme of resurrection and immortality. Its flesh was also said to never decay. The peacock was also said to cure poison and venom, especially from snakes. The peacock is actually a precursor or inspiration for the phoenix, and in general just a symbol of royalty and fertility. The peacock is related to the symbol of the evil eye, which is a protective charm. It also became associated with the all-seeing eye of Horus, and in general the worship of Ra. Here's just a drawing I found that kind of illustrates that connection. And I believe the peacock is also related to the Hamsa symbol. I believe the evil eye, the eye of Horus, and the Hamsa developed independently from the peacock, but I think they came from the same source, and that source is what gives the peacock most of its mystical abilities or attributions. But we'll talk about that in a moment. The Simurgh of Persian myth is a giant, ancient, bird-like creature with the body of a peacock. The Simurgh is a protector or guardian of the world and is also a mediator or messenger between the earth and the heavens. And every so often, it plunges itself into flames and kind of bestows fertility on the land. And it's also a keeper of divine wisdom and knowledge. So the Simurgh is kind of in between an angel and a phoenix, symbolically, and it probably was a precursor to those, all of which find their common themes in the peacock. In the Yazidi religion, one of their chief figures is the peacock angel Malik Taus. The vehicle of Shiva's son Murugan is a peacock. The angel Gabriel from the Abrahamic religions was often called the peacock of the angels, and he is depicted most often as having the wings of a peacock. The archangel Gabriel is the main messenger who visits the likes of Ezekiel, Zechariah, Daniel, Mary, and Muhammad, and is tied to a visionary experience. The angels being filled with eyes comes from that peacock feather symbolism. The peacock also features in a lot of early Christian and Islamic symbolism. The peacock was also used as a symbol of Jesus because of its themes of resurrection, and is featured in some nativity scenes. In some legends, the peacock guards the entrance of paradise and also represents the cosmos. Although in recent times, the peacock has been more associated with pride, vanity, and misfortune or bad luck. The peacock is one of the favorite animals of Hera. She had a giant named Argus who had 100 eyes, and he would spy on Zeus to make sure he wasn't sleeping around. Zeus sent Hermes to get rid of Argus, and the only way he could do it was to lull Argus to sleep and then behead him. Afterwards, Hera took the eyes of Argus and put them on the peacock. So Hera is often depicted alongside a peacock. And so this is another ocular symbolism with the peacock, as well as being with fertility and royalty. And also Hermes as a messenger god in his contribution to the legend of the peacock. This is a painting by Salvador Dali called Argus in Black, which is pretty cool and definitely highlights the 100 eyes aspect of Argus. The peacock symbolism is used by a lot of Hindu gods, which makes sense because the peacock is native to India. Krishna is often depicted with a peacock feather on his head, and in this picture his cow even has some. Both Lakshmi and Sarasvati are associated with the peacock. When Indra was battling the demon king Ravana, the peacock came to his aid and protected him. The peacock often serves as a throne for Indra or a vehicle for Indra and many of the other gods. Now we're going to get into more of the mysticism and alchemy of the peacock. We're going to see how there is a meditative experience which would become associated with the peacock, and give it many of its ocular themes, its messenger and carrier of divine wisdom themes. Among certain Buddhist traditions found in many East Asian countries is this figure called Mahamayuri, who means the Great Peacock King. She is a meditative deity, sometimes called the Queen of Secret Sciences or the Grand Mother of Buddha. Real quick, this was a paper I found that was talking about some related peacock motifs. Interestingly, there's Tammuz, the Sumerian fertility god. The peacock is closely related to sky gods and death gods, such as Indra and Zeus through Hera. We're going to explore some alchemy manuscripts, and from that, sort of reverse engineer the peacock symbolism that we were just talking about. This is a manuscript from the Hermetic philosopher H. Coonrath. This is a cosmological depiction of the alchemical work in the form of an eyeball. So this first sphere here is the pupil, and from the chaos of the four elements, kind of on this macrocosmic scale, emerges the spherical lapis. It's a smaller world within the larger world. It's being lifted up by the rebis, and red and white liquid is pouring out from the rebis, and this forms the vitreous body of the cosmic eye, which forms the sea of time and space. Above the rebis is the four stages of the great work, represented as a combination of four birds: the raven, the swan, the peacock, and the phoenix. Finally, at the top here of this cosmic eye is the Pythagorean tetractys, which serves as the optic nerve. In this work, Coonrath says that the peacock is the soul of the world, nature, the quintessence which causes all things to bring forth. Carl Jung referenced Coonrath's work a lot and said that the peacock symbolized inner beauty and the perfection of the soul. This one's from a very cryptic series of manuscripts from a very famous alchemical book called The Silent Book. So I won't spend too much time on it, but here you have Jupiter, and below him is Juno and Peacock, amidst all of these rotating rings. Here is the peacock in the crowned jar. This is one of the stages of the work. In this manuscript by Kircher, we have divine light coming off of Apollo with the double-headed eagle, and it's reflecting off of Diana, who has a double-headed peacock next to her. This light, which contains divine knowledge and wisdom, can only partially be obtained through the dark cave of the body. What this is saying is, through meditation, someone is able to gain a faint reflection of the wisdom light. Here again are the four stages of the work. We have the raven, the swan, the peacock, and the floor, which is the redness. Finally, we have this very strange looking manuscript. We have a raven here that is dead. This represents the blackness or the darkness. And this person is sleeping, so we can understand it as the darkness of a meditative experience. Once you get past that, you are then in a bed of peacocks. This is referring to a visionary experience that is associated with the peacock. So even though this person is asleep, we have kind of this divine heavenly light shining upon them. And finally, beyond that is the next stage, which is the whiteness. The alchemists and mystics and all those other religious and mythological themes that had to do with the peacock, they were referencing a specific phase of a meditative phosphene. In a previous video, I talked about the green ring. This is a progression of that state, and it becomes filled with blue. This may seem underwhelming, but just seeing a picture of it doesn't give you the entire visionary experience and the kind of insight or wisdom light that is associated with it. The message or the divine knowledge that is associated with the experience. Meditative visions are largely ungraspable, they're unfathomable, they're so hard to explain and define. So it makes sense to try to correlate things with the natural world. I think it's obvious if you had such an indescribable experience, and then you saw in the natural world something that seemed to just have 100 of these that it wears naturally, you would associate the two together. And so the lore and the myth of the peacock and its associations with visions and meditation and angels and other godly beings becomes pretty obvious. So I think that's why the evil eye and the Hamsa and the Eye of Horus would become associated with the peacock, because I think they were both coming from the same visionary experience just before the peacock became spread to different countries. I think that's what most of the peacock symbolism represents, as the messenger and vehicle. Thanks for watching.